I did not mean to start. Okay, cool. So welcome to the conference. So thank you, Ben, for doing a presentation on writing cover letter. So as a follow-up, to doing a cover letter, there's the next event. Next presentation is on event marketing. But first, let me introduce myself. So my name is Neil. I'm from Bangkok, Thailand, and I have been a judge since Amanket. So that's about 5 years ago. And I'm a father of 2 Felida guardians right here. So let's see. So I do have some experience firsthand in marketing. That was one of my first job I did. I was looking after a company's Facebook account. Yes, Amanket, it's 5 years ago, Benny. And unfortunately or fortunately, the way that look at it, I also used to own a magic store as well. And I actually sold it just before COVID. So I actually have experience firsthand how difficult it is and how tight it is doing an event for an MTG. So you might be asking, how is marketing, event marketing especially, is relevant to me? I think personally, marketing is a great skill to have regardless of who you are. You can apply it to many things. For example, you can think of yourself as a product, right? When you're at work, essentially your boss is looking you as a product or a number, and you are basically trying marketing yourself in the best way possible so you can get that nice big fat promotion at the end of the year. And also, right now, the things that happening in Thailand is that many stores, there are many new stores coming in Bangkok, and they do not actually knows how to run an event. So let me know. I'm really interested to know if this also happens in your region. I think this year alone, we actually had 5 or 6 new stores opening, just in Bangkok alone. So yeah, I truly believe that learning about events marketing is, it's a great tool to have, and it will be great for your resume to put on your CV as well. So let's look at first, why do stores want to host an event? Well, obviously they would want to promote their business or brand, and they want to engage. This also have as a chance for them to engage or interact directly with their customers. They have commitment as WPN premiums or regular WPN stores are required to run events on a regular basis. This goes on their metric, and it will determine how much pre-list kit or any other stuff that they will get at the for each quarter or for each set release. So it's definitely in the store best interest to host an event, and especially hosting a successful event. So marketing is important because it will ensure that a store will have enough players to attend your events. There are many cases in my own store from my personal experience that we had many months that we did not get an 8-man Friday night magic pots going. And then things just start spiraling out of control. People stop turning up because they do not know there's going to be a draft or not. Is there anything I learned from these things is players do not like to have their time wasted. So that goes on the second point, that when you're hosting a good event from a good marketing, it also helps retain players' retention for future events. Which is the things that get often overlooked by TO and store owners, because players are not automatically going to show up because you say, hey, there's a magic events going on, you guys should come. What they might not realize is that we have 50 stores in Bangkok, last time I checked, I think, and there's about 150 events scheduled from Feb 15 to April. I did not actually think that it was this much. So I also look at Singapore. They have even more events, 200 events scheduled until May. So personally, what I'm seeing is that the number of players are either growing very slowly, or they're like on like a stable, or in some region, I do think that some people like to, go in and out of Magic. So in some region, I would say they are declining. So not only we are having the same amount of players, we are actually having more events. So everyone just like taking a smaller chunk of the pie, and the pie size is the same. And because MTG events also runs on very, very thin margin, every player matters, right? Not only you are running on a low margin, you need players to cover the cost. It also helps with store stats as well. You do actually want players to come in as part of the WPN stats. So here's a case study. This is like pretty catastrophic marketing event. So we had, I believe this was in 2022 last year. The distributor had held 600,000 Thai baht, so that's about 20 grand. So 20 grand USD. So for those who don't know the conversion rate, so it's a very, very huge prize pool. I'll just take a few minutes, have you guys guess how many people actually turn up to this event. I think people in Thailand already know how much. But yeah, just take a few moments to guess how much you think. Someone got very close. It's from last time I checked, it's about 140 players. So this event has registration fee of 2,500 baht. So 2,500 baht. Why do I say that? So the funny thing is, if actually all the players actually split all the money evenly, they would actually walk away with net positive. I think the amount that they were aiming for is about 400 to 500, which is kind of crazy because that is the amount that GP Bangkok has, or I'm not too sure. I didn't remember the exact number. So the thing that went wrong is that they did not give enough time to promote the event. So something like this, I would say you probably need about 6 months or 6 months or maybe a year ahead of time, because it's such a grand event. You're offering a huge prize pool. And this was still in the COVID. So we still had like a travel restriction regarding of COVID. So they were banking on a few countries nearby to actually come in and join the event. But that was also hard because one, they did not give enough time for people. And two, there was a COVID restriction that was happening as well. And personally, I think 2,500 is very pricey. I believe that is actually more than a GP. So I think a lot of people got priced out of that event, which is another topic that I will go on a later time. So if there's anything, so marketing is simple. You just need to remember 5P: product, people, price, promotion, and place. So let's look at a product first, right? So let's ask ourselves, why would anyone pay? Why would play there? Why would anyone pay $100 entrance fee, hotel, plane tickets to fly and go compete at a Magic Fest, or if you had old school like me, go to a Grand Prix? Well, it's about entertainment, right? When we hosting an event, we are not selling cards, we are selling experiences, which I believe this is one thing I believe WotC has done really well, which is they are selling the experience and the experience of going to a pro tour or a Grand Prix, and you just feel like, oh wow, that is so, it's so glamorous, it's so prestige. when you have a friends that there is a pro tour, they've been to pro tour before, and they come back to tell you how amazing it is, or they even go to a Grand Prix and they say, "Oh man, it's so fun. The tournament is so fun. So many side events. You go and get your card sign up. It's all about experience." So I believe this is why PT and GP has been a crucial success to Magic the Gathering, and I do believe that sorry, not to believe, I hope um, they actually bring back GP, bring back PT or GP like the way it used to be before. It's a little different now. Personally, I do not like it. I heard from a lot of people that they do actually prefer the old ways better, but times have changed, and let's not dwell on it. I want to experience winning 1 year supplies of cut noodles. I would think that you would also need a hair treatment with that as well. You're gonna have your hair start falling off, eating so much noodles. So another thing is, it's the people, right? You need to know what kind of event you want to cater to these people. Some of the question you want to ask is, what do they like? What do these people enjoy playing? And what type of players are there? So, for example, if you have a lot of new players in your area, it's probably be good introduction to do like a draft or seal at regular IL, so that way they get to know, they might be struggling to get cards, so having a limited option would be great. And having like a low friendly environment at REL level, at regular level, would actually help foster them so they might be more comfortable at a competitive REL. Conversely, if you decide to host a Lexi or maybe for modern tournament, that probably wouldn't go very well. Most of the players won't be able to get the cards they needed, and you're just probably going to end up with an empty event or empty stores if you try to do that. Price structure is also another thing that you could consider. For a more casual people, they just want to come in, have a good time, and maybe walk away with a little something in their hand. Then you would probably consider something a bit more like a flat price structure. So that way people, people just having a good time, they're not too serious, or they're not too, they're just there to have a good time, basically. Or alternatively, if you have a lot of, people that enjoy high stakes tournament, people like enjoying tight play, people that like to min-max everything, then you probably maybe opted into, a high stake tournament where, say, top 8% get prizes or something like that. So mostly it will be, for a first choice, would be something, like your F&M, you're like a Saturday night draft or Saturday night, Sunday EDH or whatever. And the last one would be something like on like a store champion, APAC League, or ICQ qualifiers. So the choice is yours, and I think it's probably best if you take a look at and survey out what kind of customers, what kind of players comes into the stores, and just get a feel out of that. Timing and format is also very important. So while seal or draft is actually fun, depending on the set though, people might not retain their interest in the particular format for long. For example, I think one of the fun ones is probably, in my personal opinion anyway, what's that set with Oko in it? Eldraine. I believe, personally, I really enjoy Eldraine. I enjoy Dominaria. I did not enjoy Ixalan as much. So a lot of players tend to have different preferences. But I think something that people want to, always excited to open or draft is probably like a double master set or something like that. Something that retains their value. Players tend to enjoy opening or enjoy drafting, given that they have the cash necessary for it. Standard can be also exciting and fresh at the beginning of each rotation season. So from what I see is that they tend to get really stale towards, like the last few sets, and players just like, oh, I'm so bored of standard. It's the same thing. I see Oko everywhere. I see, Nexus everywhere. So when a new set rotate, that's also give a chance to, having a new standard tournament. Players are really excited to get in, test a new deck, and that also a good time to drive sale as well. PTSD from my creatures becoming elf. Yep. Oko for the win. And I think the last one which is very important one, is to look for local or regular players that come to the stores. Like I said before, we had a lot of I personally had a lot of issues at my old stores where some of the regulars, they had life commitment, or they were because they were seeing that our stores were starting to not running a regular draft, they went to other stores and drafted instead. So, and it's just like a cascading problem. So you should always look out for the local and regular, find out what they're like. It will be easier to ask your locals to say, hey, we got events coming this Saturday. Would you like to join? It will be easier to go and ask a new player, say, hey, would you like to come and join this event? And they might be a little bit more hesitant. It also can allows you to have some rough idea of how many people can you expect at your events. If you have about 10 regulars that comes in every now and then, I guess the optimal size for your next big event probably be like 20 or 30, not like like 50 60s, because you know where you're working on. You're working on about like 10 or 12 people, so you can plan your event and that from there. So like I said before, another key things to consider is like pricing. You really don't want your event to be so priced out that player having like a second thought of entering. Like for example, 2,500 baht, 2,500 baht is actually quite a lot of money in Thailand, because a box costs about, I believe it was about 3,800. So it costs a box to enter that tournament. And if you're not a pro, or you're not like a high stake players, or like the top players, you're probably not gonna get your money worth out of 2,500. So a few pricing strategy that's works all the time is, are you offering a discount for store members? So for example, people who actually come in all the time, or your regulars, or people that buys from you often, are you willing to give a discount on them, because you are rewarding their loyalty to the stores? Another good strategy is to do like an early bird or pre-registration. This way, players, you kind of force their hand, or you try to encourage them to make decision as soon as possible. Therefore, you can have some numbers to go on, and you can start planning here. It's like, okay, first month of this event, I have 20 people. I wanted 40. I'm halfway there, so that's a pretty good start. Or if you're seeing, oh no, I need 40 people and only 10 people sign up for pre-registration, that would just give you more time to plan ahead. It's like, okay, I need to go and promote here, or might need to consider cutting out some prices or lowering the price down, etc., etc. Are you willing to take a loss? So in some cases, at my old place, we do operate an event at a loss, because that would be, we would treat it as a marketing cost. So we still do collect registration fee. I used to work in, so some context, I used to work in running shoe companies, and I do plan and run events for them. So we do sometimes that we run an event at a loss. We say we're willing to spend this much ourselves, like say 200 grand. And anything that is not covered by the registration, we just cover it off ourselves. So that way, the customers get the best experience, and they get the best thing possible at the lower cost. Most likely, in most cases, MTG store probably would not willing to cut out their profit to operate at a loss, because it's, as I said before, it's very tight. But in some cases, operating at like break even is just well enough for the purpose of that event. And another example why a GP can price you at a higher rate than normal event is because they have established a brand and reputation. So we know that if you go to a GP, you are most likely going to have a good time. You can always get flood or screw. You can always get kicked out on a CO3 and join like a side event or something. But most of the time, I do enjoy all the GP that I went to, the GP Taipei, GP Kyoto. I missed out on GP Singapore. That was a shame. But overall, I think because they have established such a strong name for themselves, they are able to command the price. So this is something that a store should take into account as well. The price is too high for the things that you are offering to the customer. Example. So a quick thing on players is that even your events is top notch, some player may not be able to get to it. So choosing a place is also very important. Something to consider is it close to the public transport? If not so, is there parking available? If so, how many? Getting a place that easy to get to and have good facility. People, maybe it's good to like close to like a food area, is in a shopping mall, so there's good aircon, people are easy to get to. It will be actually crucial to hosting an event as well. And if you choose a good place and the next time player was like, oh, I know this place, that's a good place, I like that place, it's also another factor that will contribute to players choosing an event as well. And last but not least is the promoting. So we have set up, so we have established what we are selling, who we're selling it to, where we're selling it. This is another thing that we need to consider, is how are we going to promote the event, because people need to know that you are hosting an event. So always one key thing is always keep ample time to promote your events. The bigger the event, the longer you need. So for example, like national, when you host national, you don't just go, hey guys, there's a national next month, we're gonna see you there. That's you're probably not gonna get many people to turn up. So for bigger event, the longer you need. That's like a one key thing that's most store owner needs to take in. And when you promote, be sure to include all the important details that will help remove any uncertainties. So this is things like the date, when is it, what day is it, what time is it. So player these days, we do have a lot of commitments, or we may need to ask our significant others that, hey, I want to go play on this event, are you okay with that? We need to get a stamp on our visa. Good toilet also, yes, that's a good point. So letting players getting knows ahead of time, that's one key thing. Letting know what date it is and what day it is. So funny story about letting people know ahead of time is that so I used to get really hooked on this game, so Diablo 2, and I think there's one event that I actually took some time off for because I wanted to get into the open event. But unfortunately, they say like, oh, hey, sorry guys, we have to like delay it. So I actually wasted my vacation day doing nothing because I thought I would have chance to play, but then there was unexpected technical error. So yeah, so you do not want this kind of things happen in your event. You want people to get to know it ahead of time. So so they can plan their days and stuff. Because no one wants to invest their time and effort in an event they do not think is going to start, right? That's like the worst thing. Go to an event, it's like waiting aside, and then having a store owner come to you and say, sorry, mate, we do not have players to start this event. We just gonna have to refund your registration fee. I mean, getting money back is fine and dandy, but it's the wasted time and the feeling is not great, and you're most likely not gonna see that guy again. In terms of channels, so like the true bread and butter is like your social media, your in-store posters, and the thing I like the most is word of mouth. So social media is a great place to reach a large number of players. I would recommend stores do their own social media. So this way they can always update their events and they can post pictures regarding events so customers knows what's going on. And if you have a page that is constantly updating, players just going to be more drawn to it and more engaged to it as well. You can also promote on local MTG groups or communities. So in Thailand, we have a few marketplace that store owners also goes in and promotes their event on there. And usually the admins are relatively fine with people promoting in there. And again, make sure that information can be found. So on like posters and stuff, make sure all the dates are there, all the key details are there. Right. Yes, I already talked about that. So yes, each store should invest their own social media account like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Probably just choose one that people use the most in your country. I think for us is Facebook. So I'm not too sure about other countries. I'll be interested to know. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of consistency, but I do think overall it's a worthwhile effort to set up your own social media for a store. In-store poster and flyers. So this is always great. I do think a store should always have either a poster for the next big events coming up, or maybe just a calendar, just a basic calendar that's with a dot on them, say we have events on here, here, and here. So every time a customer walks in, they immediately knows, or it could just sparks up a conversation about what events is coming up. So that way they can plan ahead and they always get up to date on what kind of events is going on in the store. And the easiest thing is if they ask about your event, you just hand out the flyers. Okay. And the reason I believe word of mouth is the best is because it comes from a trusted source, right? So that trusted source is probably your friend. So let's say if I have a random person come and ask me, would you like to join a conference about, would you like to come and join a conference about X, Y, and Z? I'll be like, let me think about that. But as opposed to, let's say someone like Felix or QJ say, hey, we have an awesome conference going on. Would you like to join? I'll be more likely to say yes to that one because it comes from a trusted source. Like when you go to a restaurant and you read a review and you're like, is that true? Are they paying someone to do it? As opposed to when you go to your friends and say, when you heard your friends say, hey man, you need to try that new burger place. It's like, it's awesome. It's out of this place. You are more likely to trust your friends than some rich review on the internet. And they're certainly cost effective because it's free on your end, right? You go to your friends, or if you're a store owner, you usually be friends. You be friends with most of the players there, and then you can ask them nicely and say, hey man, we got we got a tournaments coming up. Invite your friends, invite your granny, your daddy, whatever. Just help me out here, man. And in most cases, if you're a nice person, they'll be happy to oblige. But the only downside is that it can tend to be slow, and these kind of word of mouth thing just needs to be built over time. Tommy says some enthusiasm can only be transferred by word of mouth. I totally agree with that. I think there are some businesses that only operate just on word of mouth. They don't do advertisement on in. Hello? Am I back?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's my headset. It automatically turns off after certain periods of time. When did I stop saying stuff?
Probably you can just try your best to repeat the last 1 minute.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So just I'm not really sure if I say this. So just wrapping up word of mouth. Intuition. Okay. Yes. I do agree with. Sorry, who said that? Yeah. So Tommy said enthusiasm can only be transferred by word of mouth. So I totally agree with that. Some company actually make it their main strategy to do that. So they do not put any money in like online advertising, printed media. They just solely focus on that. Okay. So also we can also, as a judge, we can also help out in a way that if we are judging or running an FNM at some stores, and that stores have an event later on that week or that month, it costs us nothing to say, hey guys, welcome to FNM, welcome to XYZ draft. Just to get there is an event coming up in the next week. It's a standard showdown. If you guys want to know any more information, you can ask Bob, our clerk over there, for more information. And have a good draft, guys. That kind of stuff is just free, and it just show good gesture from us as a judges to the store owners. So this way, all the local players know that there's an event coming up, and they can't say that, oh man, I did not know there's an event. No one says anything. We literally just said it right there. Just try to be as vocal as possible. I think that is, because we are judges. I think hopefully most players look at us favorably. And I think they do believe us that when we say, hey, there's a good event coming up, you guys should join. And hopefully they do believe us. Okay. I'm very close to wrapping up. So I'm just going to go over other things that you can do. So like I said before, uncertainties will drive players away. And that is inversely true for being consistent. If your events keep getting canceled, players will think twice about joining. So, which is also, they will appreciate it when your events start on time, and that way they are more likely to have a good time and will not have to worry about, getting back home on time or going to dinner afterward. There are a lot of occasions that we had a lot of players leaving our stores at second round because they're like, oh no, the wife is gonna kill me. You guys start the draft like 1 hour late. I'm just gonna drop out second round and see you guys later. Just leave my pricing with the store clerk. So yeah, so this happens all the time, and as we get older, we do not want to deal with an angry wife at home or angry girlfriend, boyfriend at home, right? Because you are now late because your draft started late. Another thing is like very, very simple thing that I found out a lot of players appreciate is always taking a photo of top 8 winners and posting on social media. I feel that a lot of players, they like their achievements recognized. And especially if you put a deck list up, they can parade it to their friends like, hey man, my deck made top 8 this event. And that's just gonna be like more compound if there's like a homebrew deck as well. Posting deck list online is good. So it's always these little things that keep players invested, and it's a good way to build up hype. We have a few questions, so let's have a look. So Benny asks, how long do you think the promotion need to be for a big event effectively? I would say if you're talking about big like GP, I would say 6 or 1 year, 6 months to 1 year. Something like an RCQ, those things you typically kind of know beforehand. Like if you are stores, the store usually knows like about like 3 months or a few sets beforehand. That's probably, that's probably the best you can do. Bragging right. Yep. Bragging rights. Always about bragging right. Ace says he also like a meta report. Yep. The meta report is something that a lot of players do enjoy. It do takes quite a lot of effort though. So one of the hardest thing for doing a meta report is, I guess, is when most of the meta is actually the same, or all the decks are like some small variation of the others, I guess. Halim says, sometimes I was so tired of judging, staffing the event, I forgot to take pictures. Yeah, I mean, this is more on like a TO side though. So I do, judging is a very hard, very tiring thing. So I do think that I think you have a legitimate excuse there. Okay. Oh, actually, that was the last slide. So yeah, so some of the key takeaway is, remember, you're not selling cards, you are selling experiences. Don't have any unrealistic expectation. So this means managing the numbers and managing like the prices and everything. Know your audience. You should serve an event that is suitable to your audience. And number 4 is be consistent and set a high standard for yourself. I believe I actually do have some time left, so I'm free to take any questions or I'm open to discussion by the people. Ralph says, my take on pre-event promotion is minimum 2 paydays away from events. Yeah, that actually, like some events, like when we did running events, we would actually do a ticket selling day on the payday. So that would be like the end of the month or beginning of the month, because we know people have money to join the event. Is 6 months too far for a promotion? It depends on the event. So let's take the OGT things for example, right? Let's rewind a bit. I do not think 6 is too far. It depends how you execute it, right? Where is that slide? Right here. So the way they actually could have done it is, so yeah, so what Ian says, right? If you can keep the hype, I think 6 months is not long. So what they could have done is they could actually hold a mini tournament to seed people into the events. So for example, if you say the registration fee is expensive, you held like say mini events at each stores where the owners of where the TO provides subsidized entrance fee. So that way you keep building up the ties, say, hey, let's go to this qualifier for free entry, or like a free, let's say, like when we used to do GP, we or national, we had like a first round or second round buy, right? So we could do something like that. So that way we keep the hype going. A lot of stores benefit from having a small tournaments that goes on throughout the year and that leads into this this hype, this big event. Ralph says 6 months equal teaser for broad promotion, not very effective for something so far away. Yeah, so if you do like an RCQ, 6 months, like a one-time off event, 6 months is probably too far. But if you do like a GP or something like a national, I think 6 months is probably like an ample time to get things rolling. Ralph said it would suck to see a full trailer for the hype movie that would be showing 6 months away. Yep, I get your point though. So it's about balance and everything. And Benny says sometimes we as event organizers also need to pay attention with the release of new expansion too. Yep, I think that is right. There was, and that is also some of the unfortunate thing about Magic as well, is that when a new set release, you don't know how it's going to affect people, right? So I think that was when MM1 released and everyone just like start playing Hogak all the time. So the modern season was a bit stale and players did not tend to enjoy it as much. So we do have to look out for, new expansion too. And another thing is that when you plan an event and it's like, say, a seal event, and if your product is delayed, that's gonna get messy as well. A lot of great comments here. Early bird, I have experience. So Halim said, early bird, I have experience when the early bird date is passed. This makes somehow the event feel a bit more high and people just don't want to apply because they don't get the early bird benefit because it's really fast. Yep. I actually knows how that feels. Unfortunately, the main point of early bird is actually to entice people to sign up first, but I do get a point. I do get your point though. So if the majority of people will feel that way, I do think then most likely we would not do an early bird. How to make it fun and inviting? Well, maybe something, let's say, like you usually have promos lying around as a store owner, right? So sometimes you just go, okay, the price is the same, but if you are doing an early bird or you're pre-registered, you also get this promo. So yeah, that way the players don't get to feel too, they don't feel like they're overpaying, but they just get a little bit more if they register early. So it's kind of the same thing, but you're just kind of reversing the mindset a little bit here. Yeah, great discussion. Yeah, so QJ just say the same thing. So early bird, make them get more, not less, for the same price. Yeah, I think that's a good mindset to have. What is your hot take on releasing budget for your marketing? How much are you willing to spend just for marketing? Doesn't need to be exact value. So Philip, the industry standard is somewhere around 5 to 10%. Like this is what we use as a company. So 5 to 10% and of your total revenue. So you are willing to spend 10% of your revenue as marketing. You should not spend any more on that. If you in marketing sense, if you're spending more than 10% of your total revenue, you are overspending on your budget. It also depends on your growth strategy. If you try to grow more, you are willing to spend more. So hopefully that answers your question. Ralph said, early bird fixed seating to air-conditioned hall, non-early bird fixed seating to hell pods. Yep. We actually had that. So at some stores, since it only hosts 24 people inside. So if you rank worse than 24th, you had to sit outside with no aircon. So that kind of encouraged people to play better or to drop out early. What's the prime? What's the best time? I don't know what the best time myself with travel restriction keep changing. Yeah, I do understand that as well. I mean, personally, right now I kind of want to go to Japan, but the rules keep on changing, and it's kind of sucks in the situation that we are in now. But I do believe it's gradually getting better, and it was way better than, let's say, 2 years ago. All right. Well, I guess if there aren't any more questions, and I think we are going at about a good time, which 10 minutes to spare for Felix and the admin to do like a cleanup announcement. So I would like to thank you everyone for joining this event, and thank you for listening to my presentation. Hopefully you all go away with a little something. Hopefully we can help grow this community that we love so much. So yeah, I'm just gonna hand it back to the admin. Thank you, guys.